Welcome to Open Tabs. We just couldn't wait to start getting into it. Um, Let me get my little intro spiel out of the way and then we'll hop in. Welcome to Open Tabs, where we break down the stories taking up space in our tabs, our feeds, and our brains. And polka dots is one of the things taking up space in my closet, at least. I was complimenting Megan's top, and she has a prediction that brown polka dots are going to be all the rage this fall. So keep an eye out. Okay, so first topic I wanted to chat with you about today is a new up and coming social media app, Yope. And their whole shtick is that there are no ads and no algorithms on their platform. So right now it's a private social media network. They just did a big fundraising round. They've raised a total of 20 million. And the language they are using is micro communities. So it's all about fostering micro communities, small groups of friends or families to share photos, videos, and messages. And then since they don't advertise, they make their money through subscriptions. So you can pay, I think it's $3.99 a month to get more like personalization features on your profiles. You can get access to games and more storage. So I wanted to chat with you about it. I thought the micro communities was really interesting. And Megan, I feel like you were way ahead of like the rising trend with like group chats and things. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago you said that you thought the group chat could like take over social media. And I feel like it's like happening now.
Yeah, basically, we're seeing a move towards DMs. And then I was noticing that Apple was quietly doing a lot to make the group chat features so much better. And now look at it. It's like everything's organized. Like you can add
Mm.
backgrounds and like they've just added so much. So they've definitely leaned into this. And then when you also, I think something that gets slept on, especially coming from our American POV a lot, is WhatsApp and how huge WhatsApp is globally. And that is a meta Facebook product. And so I see this as less of like, oh, this is going to replace Instagram, and more of this is a direct competitor for WhatsApp specifically. And so I think that that is where they actually do have a chance. And this is a very strategic, I feel like, play at one of Meta's weak points right now. Because they've been so focused on AI and so focused on the metaverse and now the glasses that I feel like WhatsApp has kind of fallen on the back burner. So I think this is a really smart move, though I'm hesitant to say that people are going to adopt a whole new thing. Like I
That-
am very resistant to a new
Mhm.
app. Like the last time I tried a new app, I think was Be Real. And like that was years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's really like the question I wanted to talk to you about is like, I feel like we might be beyond like there being any room left for a new social media app. And I feel like every year there's like, since the pandemic, we've seen attempts with like Clubhouse and like you mentioned, Be Real and Lemonade. And I feel like these platforms will get like niche like, their own niche, little dedicated followings, but they don't seem to be able to like scale.
Yeah,
At
there's
least
also Geneva and Discord. Like there's so many like places that are doing this that have not become like the new go-to. So you're right. It's just such a crowded space that I'm not optimistic that this can be like a huge contender. But I always say, if nothing else, new apps are indicative of where there's appetite in the market for things. And I think that this is definitely hitting on things that people are sick of, which is algorithmic feeds and not being able to talk to their friends specifically and not seeing their friends' content and being served so many ads. So, like, there's a desire to talk to people, to be in these micro groups and communities, but there's also this feeling that the way that you're doing it now could be improved, which I think is fair.
yeah, I am curious if Yope stands the test of time. Like how that no algorithms, particularly like no ads or no advertising will go. Because I feel like these companies start making money, they start getting more and more users, and then it always leads to an increase in advertising on the platform. I was just talking, like venting with some of my friends about Pinterest and like how we love Pinterest or have loved Pinterest for so long. And it's getting harder and harder or more frustrating to use because at least mine is overrun with Amazon ads. And I'm like, no, I come to Pinterest because I don't want Amazon. Like, I want the exact opposite of Amazon.
Yeah. And even I think, even thinking about how you could make the ads work harder for the customer, I think like with Pinterest, and it might not be like this recently because I've honestly stopped using it as much because it's just harder to use. But ads weren't pinnable in the same way that other things were. So like you would go to click on something where you're like, oh, I like that. And it's ad. And then it's like takes you to the
Yeah.
website and you can't just pin it to your board. And I was like, why won't you just let me pin this to my board? Because like sometimes if
No.
I really liked it, I would like go to the website, use my plugin to pin it to the board. And it's like you're creating steps for me that it's like I'm trying to engage with this ad that you've given me in the way that I want to like maybe one day buy this product. So why aren't you letting me do that? And I just feel like that was such a failure of UX. Yeah, Pinterest sucks. I mean, the thing is Pinterest has so much potential to be good and I loved Pinterest for such a long time. So like it's like Pinterest doesn't have to suck as much as it is, you know? And then I also, another, since we're venting about Pinterest, I use it. I would say my main use for it now is when I'm getting my nails done and I'm like, I
Mm.
kind of know what I want. And then I need a picture to show the person. And it's so much just like Amazon press on sets. And it's like, this is not what I'm looking for. Like, and you're actively like not serving me. Like, I've never bought press on nails and I'm not going to. So why am I being served them right now when I'm like, tell me what the latest color is. Like, upsell me on like a nail polish, like
Hmm.
a salon. It's just so out of touch with like what you're actually doing.
Yeah, no, I have that annoying feature. If you click on an ad, it's still the case. On Pinterest, it just takes you to the external website and you can't pin it. And I was like trying to have my fun, relaxing Pinterest time literally like 2 days ago. It's like after work,
Hmm.
like my screen time before I force myself to like close before bed and read a physical book. And I was trying to relax and it happened like 5 times in a row where I clicked on something to pin it and it tried taking me to an external website and I was like, no. This is my like curating time. Like I want to curate a vibe right now and you're not letting me and I had to log off. I don't Yeah,
You should read this for the people at home, Emma.
Fran just commented, what I don't get is how Pinterest was perfectly usable when I used to get blackout drunk on box wine at home and Pinterest my future wedding. I wasn't engaged. Drunk me had the worst, but not that I don't drink. I can't make a board for shit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's incredibly frustrating. And I was also like a couple glasses of wine deep. And when I was trying to
The
pin and
truth
have my
comes out.
time, and I was like, this totally ruined my mood and poor bed. Like, this sucks. Um, and it's just like really sucks if you're somebody who like, I feel like curation is more of a thing than ever. Like, I've wanted to like curate a vibe. And also, Fran, to your point, it's like very funny. I've had my same Pinterest since I was like 13, and it's like such a funny time capsule of like
Yeah, of like what
these
you thought.
days. Um, and how it's developed, and it's just, like, very sad to see, like, probably what was my favorite. I don't even really like calling it a social media platform because I at least have never used Pinterest like that. I know you can, like, comment
Mhm.
and DM and all the things, um, but it's just been such a frustrating experience,
Yeah.
Pinterest life.
This conversation has made me realize that I've replaced my Pinterest time with the Nordstrom app. and like I don't
Mm.
even buy things. I just go on there and like look through and sort through and like even just like look at brands I'm never going to purchase, and they have everything like high, low, and it satisfies that same curation itch. And so like I have a wish list of stuff that I'm never going to buy, but it's just like to that curating, you know?
Yeah, and no, Pinterest was like the inside of my journal. I love that. It so is. It's like inside my brain how my taste has developed, how like my personal brand has developed. My like internal personal brand, what I'm achieving, striving for. It's so interesting and just like really sucks.
And I
But
think that also gets us to a point with like adopting new apps today. For me, that platform was Tumblr, where it's like you can go back and see like, you
mhm.
know, I literally think I got it in seventh grade. You know, so it's like you can see what seventh grade me thought was aspirational. And so much of the past internet and how much these apps were built is like by the teenagers at that time that the app was new. They were kind of the ones who were pioneering the culture on that app. And we even had this with TikTok and Gen Z and the pandemic. But I think that now that's not really the case anymore, where you're going to like have a class of people who are going to be open to downloading a new app and learning a new culture and creating a new community on there. Like they're either already on the internet other places by the time they hit teenagerdom, or they just aren't going to spend their time doing that.
Yeah. Oh, Fran, that's interesting. Now I just download off Google Images and collage them in Canva. It's basically the modern equivalent of scrapbooking. Yeah, I feel like I love that. Maybe I'll do that because I am a Canva queen and there are no ads on Canva yet. Knock on wood. Maybe just jinx it. um, okay, so the next
Next week on
uh,
Open Tabs, Canva adds ads.
oh my God. I know I'm gonna get like a push notification now. Ads on Canva. Um, but okay, so next topic, the next two topics we're gonna chat about, it's kind of a music focus. So first topic, Spotify is getting into music videos. So when they started with like vodcasts and like you can now watch, you know, the vodcast of Call Her Daddy and all of their like Spotify original podcasts instead of having to do that on YouTube. And now they are getting into streaming music videos as well. So they've launched their first global music video chart. So similar to what YouTube used to have, where you could like go to the top trending music videos and see what everyone was watching. You can now do that on Spotify. And they also have a tool that lets artists pitch their music videos for consideration in playlists, which I think is interesting. Um, and this
Interesting.
also comes off at the beginning of the year. I think we included this in a Cultural Gems Monday email, but we never talked about it. YouTube had to pull their data from Billboard charts back in January because there was a dispute over like the weight of subscriber views versus, you know, people who weren't subscribed to artist channels. So now this is, I think, what is it, 7 months later, Spotify is like fully stepping in to replace that gap. Um, and yeah, also, really interesting from this article, Spotify said that watching videos drives more listens. Users streaming songs are 64% more likely to then rewatch or restream that song in the following weeks. So there's incentive for artists to upload their music videos to the platform. Um, Megan, do you have any thoughts now that I've given my spiel?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're always tracking how all of these platforms are kind of biting off of each other and trying to like take from each other. And like this seems pretty clear of like them, like you said, filling a gap left by YouTube. I think this makes a lot of sense though, even I would say more so than them getting into podcasts and podcasts because
Mhm.
it's so aligned with what Spotify does, which is music and music discovery, and like that artist connection. However, I do think that there's so much more potential here than like what they're it's not speaking to how the music video form has actually evolved, I don't think. I know something we've talked about, but not actually like done on open tabs is like how music videos now always have a YouTuber in them. And that is like because they want to bring that YouTuber's audience who is online over to that music video to get the views up on that video. So like Somber has had like our YouTubers and also actors and actresses in his music videos and like it's like the thing now. You have
Mhm.
Alex Earl was in Benson Boone's music
Yeah.
video and of course everyone went to go watch that because it was like everyone was like, "Oh, this ties to what happened with her and Braxton." So the fact that videos are on YouTube has kind of influenced the music video form now. And I think that Spotify getting in there is like makes sense, but it's like, what are you bringing to this? And I think something that they should have leaned harder into, and I think should continue to lean harder into, is their what are they called? The little things that play when your song's playing.
I know what you're talking about. I call them
They
like
have a name.
they're like vibey. It's like I feel like it used to be clips from music
Yeah,
videos, and now artists, I feel like, have started filming short snippets specifically for this. You keep
yeah.
talking and I'm gonna Google.
So whatever those are called, I feel like during TikTok's like rise, that was a thing where artists would pull, I believe Doja Cat, there was one of
Mhm.
her songs that was trending and she would pull people doing the dance from TikTok and put it as the screensaver or whatever it is called on Spotify. And even recently we saw there's this song called Freaked Out that this random girl on TikTok made a video to where she was dancing and showing off her bob and she was like doing this like satisfying head motion and this, because of that video, this song went Canvas, Spotify Canvas. So because of that video, that song went viral and everyone was listening to it. And he made a music video and he changed the Spotify Canvas to the woman, which is she's calling herself Bob Diva now. And that was like very cool. And I feel like that really connected Spotify to how music and the industry and the ecosystem is acting today in a really culturally relevant way. That I feel like they should double down on that and the Spotify canvas as content versus being like, now we have music videos because there was no gap from the user experience of where can I go watch this music video, you know?
Yeah, I also think, I what maybe it was like a month or 2 ago, when Spotify announced they were, like, reserving tickets for, like, super listeners, I think is the term that they were calling them, and they said they were determining super users partially by, like, DMs in Spotify, like, how often are you sending this music to another user in the platform, and we talked about, like, this feels like they're trying to push, like, this messaging feature. I'm a loyal Spotify user. I've never messaged anyone in the app. I totally forgot that was even a feature. And I was thinking, like, as you were talking, part of the experience of watching a music video is then scrolling into the comments and, like, seeing what everyone else thinks. And I wonder if, like, this is them also trying to get people to use I think you can, like, leave replies on podcasts. I've done that, and, like, comments on podcasts. If they're just trying, this is another way for them to get people to message more on the platform.
Yeah, but even that like behavior is I think there's super fans and they've become kind of like a sector. But if all you're basing things off of is super fan behavior, you're missing like the large, to use the term, silent majority of people who are not going to perform their fandom via the algorithm the same way. So yesterday morning, Casey Musgraves premiered her video for Mexico Honey. And I love Casey Musgraves. And I'm always surprised by like what a fan of Casey Musgraves I am like, because so for this music video is premiering and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's happening today." So I go and I'm, like, waiting for it to premiere on YouTube, you know how they do the scheduled thing?
Yes.
And there's only 100 other people. there. There's like 110 people waiting at like 3 minutes before it starts. And I'm like, I'm one of 110 people in the world who is waiting for this Casey Musgraves video right now. And like this has happened before where she's done a pop up in LA and I'm like, we have to get there early. And I'm like, I'm the third person here. Like, and so like I'm like one of Casey Musgraves' biggest fans. I know this because I'm consistently just like looking around like I thought that we were all gonna be here. Where is everybody? Like, um, and I don't think the metrics would show that. Like, I don't think that, like, by any metric, Casey would ever know that I'm literally one of her biggest fans, but, like, I am. So I think that's also something interesting that these platforms need to think more about of, like, how are you serving the super fan who is not performing their super fandom exactly the way that your platform expects them to? Because that's really who's actually spending money and buying tickets. And like, I went to Walmart to look at the Casey Musgraves collection. I don't go to Walmart, you know? So I think that's also something that as the platforms have so much visibility into behavior, they also aren't like focused too much on their KPIs and the metrics that they can influence because that's not the whole picture of fandom.
Of that. I feel like with the rise of like fan accounts and like stan accounts, it does kind of suck all the air out of the room. And like with Heat Love Island, like I have watched I watched every single episode of Love Island like this year. I have for the past, I don't know, like 5 years. Like I'm
Hmm.
probably a super fan, but you would never know that unless you were like digging into my Instagram like or like my TikTok likes, like
Yeah.
I'm not commenting on these people's content. I'm not like doing deep dives on Twitter. I'm not going for ham on Reddit. Like, yeah, the
Hmm.
it's really interesting like how fandom culture has evolved and like it used to be something that was like a little more quieter at least when I was younger and like you'd post it would be like maybe on your Tumblr and like be on your Tumblr and maybe you'd be posting like fan fiction on one of the many options we had back then. But you weren't like it wasn't like my fandom for One Direction, like wasn't it was like if you know, you know. And
Yeah.
now I feel like people are a lot more out loud. Um,
Yeah. And then also, what then that gets to is kind of the thing we always talk about with platforms like model citizens, where the people
mhm,
who are the loudest about their fandom kind of become representatives of the fandom. And if they are not someone that you want to align with, then that is alienating. Like, that's been a thing for me with Swifties. Like, a lot of the most popular Swifties are people who I'm like, not even like, I don't like you, just like, I don't want to be grouped with you. And that has made me kind of like be like, I'm not a Swiftie like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's
mhm.
this association. So you also do have to curate your fandom and make sure that you're not just letting whoever become the main fan. Like right now, in the Olivia Rodrigo fandom, there's this girl who's like got pink hair and she was visiting the wall every day. And I definitely feel like the Olivia Rodrigo like machine was like, this is exactly who we want. Let's encourage this. Let's make her give her stuff. And like she has really good boundaries about like what she does and things like that. And I can tell they're making a concerted effort to foster those super fan relationships with people who they've decided align with the brand, not just like the most invested and the people who are doing the most via the metrics online.
Interesting. I love that. And I feel like that connects to our final topic, all about Charlie XCX and anti-marketing. In case you guys missed it, Charlie XCX, I think last week, released the following on Twitter X. She said, truly believe anti marketing will become a thing soon. Still marketing, but it's just a different approach, more intimate, personal, private, one on one. Less about the projection of scale. I'm into it, XX.